Stephen Miller, our, I don't know, favorite little egg boy Nazi fucking weirdo who... Okay. To talk about these sort of, like, inherent ridiculous contradictions that exist within fucking Nazis, Stephen Miller wants to basically deport all fucking brown people, but he wants to occupy Venezuela, which is, of course, nothing but a bunch of Hispanic people in there. So it's just like, okay, you want to, like, get rid of all the brown people within America. And by the way, this is also the same thing that all the conservatives are trying to do right now. They want to occupy the entirety of Central and South America, or all of the Western Hemisphere, basically, despite the fact that would just make the amount of Hispanic people that now live within this sort of Pax Americana, like, delusion that these people have, go up fucking significantly. It's nonsensical, obviously, to just, like, to try to logically think about this for even 2 seconds will make you want to have, like, a brain aneurysm, because it obviously, it doesn't make any sense, because conservatives don't believe in anything. Grifting and lying has only gotten more powerful than ever because of Donald Trump and all the propagandists that, generally speaking, exist in the online space. So it doesn't matter. They'll just, like, say anything, despite the fact that, like, it makes no sense with their inherent ideology, because in reality they don't believe in anything. But Stephen Miller giving a defense of Maduro's capture. Again, I don't know how many times this needs to be said. Stephen Miller himself has also talked about how the administration is like the pro-peace sort of ticket. And now he's, of course, defending the actions of this blatant regime change, which is not only illegal in terms of international law, but it's also illegal in terms of U.S. law. It's just really fucking stupid, ethically, morally, but man, whatever. Stephen Miller doesn't give a shit about that. He has, like, I don't know, some balls to fucking tickle of fascists in power, so then he can do his actual agenda of, I don't know, the kill all brown people sort of strategy. Why don't we take a listen?
Back and continuing with the world lead and asking questions about what happened in Venezuela over the weekend and what happens now. White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy Stephen Miller joins us now. Stephen, thanks so much for joining us. So a source briefed on the Venezuelan
shadow
that a handful of American troops sustained bullet and shrapnel wounds, but none are life-threatening. Can you share with us how serious any injuries to American service members might be, and also any information you can tell us about any Venezuelan civilian casualties?
Yes, well, let me take the second part first, which is that the overwhelming share of casualties and fatalities that were inflicted were against the Cuban guard that had exerted control over the people of Venezuela. So many don't realize that for years, Maduro stayed in power.
I mean, that's just a lie, by the way. I think like 80 Venezuelan civilians got fucking killed, I believe. Let me double check that, right? Alright, so Cuba says 32 of its officers were killed in the U.S. raid on Venezuela. American military operation in Venezuela killed 32 Cuban officers over the weekend. So these are like people deployed in there by the Cubans, possibly, I believe. The Cuban government said Sunday in the first official acknowledgement of the deaths. The Cuban military and police officers were on a mission. The Caribbean country's military was carrying out at the request of the Venezuelan government. Okay, so the Venezuelans asked the Cubans to deploy some troops in order to help protect them. That's what it is. Okay. I'm trying to see. What about the Venezuelan sort of casualties? Like, because I know there were civilian casualties. At least, fuck you, New York Times. I hate you. I hate New York Times. I hate them. Death toll from U.S. attack on Venezuela approaches 80, although the exact death toll is still unknown. It is known that amongst those killed were Venezuelan and Cuban soldiers, as well as Venezuelan and Colombian civilians. Well, 32 officers. Okay, so that accounts for about 40% of these casualties of this death toll. And we don't have exact numbers, so we're going to operate off of that. So it seems like the vast majority of people who got killed were Venezuelans and fucking Colombians. So, Stephen Miller lying? Because brown people are fucking getting killed. So, does Stephen Miller give a shit about any of that? Probably not.
Through an illicit deal with Cuban communists to provide his security because he didn't trust his own people to keep him safe. That is how much he was hated inside of Venezuela. So what our special forces in
Canada... I don't think that's the reasoning as to why that's the case.
When they did that daring midnight assault into Caracas, were armed Cuban guards.
Because, like, again, if that were the case, then if he wasn't trusting his own people, like, then the generals would have done a fucking coup to try to overthrow him, but they didn't do that. Now, are the Venezuelan generals satisfied with Maduro's sort of stewardship of the country? Well, that's ultimately we don't really know that, right? I have no idea if that's the case, whether or not that's 100% sort of the case. But does Stephen Miller know any of that stuff? Probably fucking not.
And they sustained massive numbers of casualties. I can't give you an exact number. The numbers that you've seen in terms of the Cuban Guard, public reported, are probably lower than the actual number that were killed. To your first question, no, none of the, at least I've been briefed, none of the injuries are life-threatening. Everybody is stable. And it just underscores the remarkable skill, precision, courage, and capability of our special forces. And I want to set the table one more time for your audience. I'm sure you've talked about it at length already. But the United States of America launched an assault force into Venezuelan territory, which has sophisticated air defense systems, which has sophisticated surveillance systems, which has...
What? What the fuck are you... Yeah, totally. Very sophisticated fucking surveillance systems and shit like that. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, you probably got like a deal with the generals to be like, listen, we're gonna go in and we're gonna take Maduro because fuck you, we can. It's like, okay, whatever, sure, dude. Nah, fuck out of here with this like weird fucking LARPy cope bullshit. Yeah, it's probably like Chinese surveillance tech and probably Russian surveillance tech. And we all know how dogshit fucking Russian equipment is. Like, we've already seen how it mostly works within Ukraine. Like, it's fucking dogshit. And again, Chinese surveillance tech is probably not as effective because they don't have any fucking battle experience with it, right? This is like the first instance that the Chinese surveillance equipment, if they have Chinese surveillance equipment, who really knows if that's even the case? It's probably old Russian stuff, if I were to take a guess. Like, we know that they were, like, shooting up in the sky against American sort of drones with BMPs, right? That's Russian stuff. Old Russian stuff from the Cold War. So, we know that's the case. We also know that the Venezuelans have a bunch of, like, old U.S. jets as well, and old Soviet jets. We know that that is part of their air forces. Like... Again, to just basically say it's because they had really, really sophisticated like Russian and like Chinese equipment is fucking nonsensical. They wouldn't fucking sell that shit to the Venezuelans. Like, they'd be like, fuck no, absolutely not, because there's potential risk of it sort of falling in the hands of the enemy. So no, absolutely not. Yeah. Soviet quality is best quality, comrade. Yeah, exactly.
Weaponry that they've received that can take out planes and helicopters from our foreign adversaries. They've been stockpiling for years in anticipation of the possibility of such an action. Right. Maduro
I'm
is
sure.
in a military fortress. In other words, since the United States had started amassing this armada under President Trump's leadership and direction, he'd increasingly narrowed the scope of his own movement. He was sleeping in a fortress. Yeah, and so he flew into Caracas. Yeah. These special forces
I'm getting like constant reminders as to why I hate listening to fucking Stephen Miller. He's so fucking whiny, man. He's such a, like, just sniveling little groveling loser. Like, oh, God. It's difficult to just fucking listen to this guy, because he's just like, he's touting something the administration did, and he's just whining about it. It's just like, you can't ever satisfy these people whatsoever, because it's just like, God, these people are just like sniveling fucking losers, because, again, they believe in a sniveling loser ideology.
Engage in direct gunfire with elite Cuban guards, and every single kill was an enemy kill.
So there are no civilian casualties?
I thought they were like dog shit, like poorly trained, whatever the fuck, Stephen Miller. Again, like consistent with the fascists, they always doublespeak.
Well, I didn't see any reports of any civilian casualties, but my point is that in this raging gunfire battle that took place, the point I'm making to you is no Americans were killed. Right. Because of the planning, skill, and preparation, the enemy sustained massive losses. Yeah. Not one of our assets was lost, not one of our people was lost.
So let's talk about what next. Delcy Rodriguez was formally sworn as Vice President of Venezuela's acting president this afternoon. She was the Vice President. She described the U.S. intervention as, quote, without a doubt, Zionist in character, unquote. Is acting President Rodriguez someone that the U.S. can work with?
So the acting president put out a statement. I want to say, Jake, it was last night, pledging cooperation with the United States, pledging full and complete cooperation.
But they also just passed a law saying that if you supported the operation, outlawing individuals or threatening with criminal penalties, individuals, if they supported the operation against Maduro, I think they did that today.
Well, the good news there, Jake, is that nobody inside of Venezuela supported the operation, so it's a law without meaning or effect. Look, Jake, there's going to be some...
I mean, the current Maduro government is still in power right now, and there's not really wide celebrations within Caracas. It basically, like, the bombing happened and everything just kind of seemingly went back to normal. They have to do cleanup of a bunch of like their airports and shit now, and repair their infrastructure, of course, because you decided to just go in and randomly start just bombing the shit out of them for basically no reason, or unironically, like because Trump saw Maduro do a little fucking dance, like yeah, look at me, I'm doing a little dance. He decided to basically like go in and be like, no, I now have to kidnap Nicolas Maduro because he's making fun of me by dancing. It's just like the most ridiculously fucking petty bullshit on the planet. But then again, it is Donald Trump, so we should be expecting the most ridiculously fucking petty bullshit on the planet from this dude, because he's just like a sniveling little fucking insecure loser, just like, well, Stephen Miller, this little fucking egg-headed freak.
Posturing that occurs when a nation has been so thoroughly defeated in this way. The United States of America, think about this, Jake. The United States of America has encircled this nation for months. One of the largest naval armadas in history has been stationed off its coast.
Yeah.
Fighter jets have been encircling the island. We've been engaging in kinetic lethal strikes against Maduro's drug boats and trained Arawago gang members leaving.
No evidence, of course, of those boats fucking even being having drugs, which the administration is alleging. I don't know how many times this has to be said. Even the first boat, again, that they bombed illegally was not headed to the United States of America. It was headed to Sumatra, more than likely to go to Europe.
The island.
Yeah.
We have launched a complete oil embargo of the ghost fleet, the dark ships.
We're
And now
covering
on
all
top of
that.
that,
Yeah.
now on top of all that, right, Maduro is sitting in a jail cell in New York, as is his wife. So of course there's going to be, that's very important though, of course there's going to be some posture.
Okay.
We're not giving anything
By the way, which that's a lawsuit that the DOJ is probably going to lose.
away. I want to be very clear. Very clear. The government has sent messages. This is such an important point, Jack. To the Secretary of State, to our senior U.S. government official negotiators. They have sent message after message making clear that they will meet the terms, demands, conditions, and requirements of the United States.
Okay.
And I want to be very clear about that.
So let's, the question about who is now running Venezuela is one that even members of Congress who are
Probably
supporters
Boeing
say they're not quite sure about. Senate Majority Leader John Thune told CNN's Monteraju that he doesn't know what President Trump meant by his assertion that the U.S. is running Venezuela, and he said he needs more information. Can you?
I mean, the reason why Kamala probably would have imposed, like, maybe not tougher sanctions, maybe like similar sanctions. I don't know, because the Trump sanctions were already pretty tough, and Biden maintained those exact same sanctions after the 2019 coup attempt. Thank you, Joe Biden. Very, very cool. More than likely would have probably just gone ahead with oil investors to try to bully Maduro into selling out. Maybe. I don't know. Like, it just depends. That's like the thing. Like, since we have like no fucking idea exactly what Kamala Harris sort of believed, because you never talked about that on the campaign trail, we have like literally no way of knowing what exactly she would have done.
You tell us what the president means when he says, is acting President Delcy Rodriguez in charge? Is she running Venezuela or not?
Well, but the president said it's true. The United States of America is running Venezuela. By definition, that's true. Jake, we live in a world in which you can talk all you want about international niceties and everything else.
I don't know how many times this has to be fucking said. It's like, then you're just not in power right now. Like, the Chavistas are still in power. The Bolivarian socialists are still in power right now. Like, again, like, in what way does the United States currently running the country right now? It's stupid. Also, again, conservatives, I thought this was supposed to be the most pro-peace administration on the planet. What happened? We're just admitting to just doing fucking regime change and like whining to Jake Tapper about it anyways. Like, okay, bro, like, nice meme.
But we live in a real world, Jake, that is governed by strength, that is governed by force, that is governed by power. These are the iron laws of the world.
But are you saying
since the beginning of time?
But in terms of day-to-day operations in Venezuela,
fucking stupid, by the way. Yeah, dude, totally. Bro, might makes right. We just want to fucking cause all the suffering possible for everyone. There, let's go.
that is acting President Rodriguez, right? It's not some sort of American emissary.
What I'm saying is, we'll keep going here, Jake, so I want to say what I'm saying and you'll follow up, but what I'm saying is just one level above that, which is that, by definition, we are in charge. Because we have the United States military stationed outside the country, we set the terms and conditions, we have a complete embargo on all of their oil and their ability to do commerce. So for them to do commerce, they need our permission. For them to be able to run an economy, they need our permission. So the United States is in charge. The United States is running the country during this transition period.
If that's
now,
true,
obviously that doesn't mean that President Trump is setting the bus fare schedule inside the country.
So
doesn't mean that President Trump is deciding
the indictment that the president and the military were acting on from 2020 was of 6 people. 2 of them were seized on Saturday by our special operators. There are 4 other individuals indicted who remain in Venezuela. Is the U.S. demanding that they be turned over? One of them is Maduro's son. One of them is a former government official. One is a current government official. One of them is the head of Tren de Aragua, as I'm sure you know. Are they going to be turned over if President Trump is in fact running Venezuela in the way you described?
Well, I don't want to.
Well, that's a good
we have the balance here,
question,
that you would most understand. We have the balance between, of course, what I can say to you publicly versus very close conversations I'd be having privately. And I know you understand and respect that. But
okay, yeah, bullshit. Yeah, that's probably not going to fucking happen. Like, okay, bro. Yeah, this incredibly incompetent administration is definitely going to get those guys. Are they? Who the fuck knows? Like, are they just going to try to, I don't know, they already did another attack, seemingly, with a bunch of drones within Venezuela, so I guess those, like, talks are starting to break down or something. Yeah, like, by the way, don't, like, again, like, if this is about sort of narco trafficking, the Trump administration give less of a flying fuck about that. Again, they still, like, just, I think about a month ago, like you're saying, Boy Meets Minnie, they pardoned Juan Orlando Hernandez, former Honduran president who trafficked lots of fucking cocaine, and also was working with El Chapo, fucking Carlos Guzman. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, don't believe anything that comes out of these charlatans' mouths. They will also always speak out of both sides of their mouth consistently. They don't believe in anything, and they're just going to basically try to now. So let's understand this correctly. They are currently running the country, despite the fact that the Chavistas are saying the exact opposite. But they're not saying that they're cooperating with one another, but they're running the fucking country. So they did do a regime change, but not really didn't really do necessarily a regime change. And also they want to get a bunch of random other people that they're probably going to try to kidnap from there, but they're talking about that. Like, it's a complete fucking shit show. Again, like, I think there was a recent Bell the Fifth Column segment talking about this, where Trump basically went in this with basically no plan. Just decided to be like, fuck it. We're just going to go in, YOLO swag 420, whatever, who gives a shit. We're just going to, like, randomly grab the leader of Venezuela and just randomly bomb a bunch of fucking boats that are alleged narco-trafficking boats and just cause a complete fucking mess in the region that someone else is going to have to fucking clean up, which is very, very fucking consistent.
Place the question in this way.
I think they count on the American people forgetting about this, Boy Meets Minnie, because Americans do have the brains of goldfish.
The individuals who are fugitives from American justice that could become part of the future conversation. But it's also true that for government leaders inside of Venezuela, as the president has said, right, we want an interim government that will respect the interests of the people of Venezuela, that wants a good, peaceful, secure future for Venezuela. So I would say this way, for those who may be indicted.
But you guys are the ones currently running it, right? Again, it's nonsensical. Like, there is no plan here because, again, these people don't operate with plans. They just do whatever they think the vibe tells them to do at this point, and they're just like, fuck it, YOLO swag 420, whatever, who cares?
The best choice they can possibly make is to be part of a constructive decision-making process for the future of Venezuela. The best decision they can make is to cooperate fully and completely with the United States to be part of building this brighter future for Venezuela during this interim period.
I want everyone to be reminded that Nicolas Maduro offered to allow U.S. companies to invest in Venezuelan fucking assets. He was looking to negotiate out of this. But again, which is the consistent policy of the Trump administration, they pretend to do negotiations and then just do the military action anyways. This is the exact same shit that they did with Iran. About 7 rounds of talks that ultimately went nowhere, of course, because the Trump administration never intended it to go anywhere whatsoever. And also with the Israelis as well. They also wanted those talks to basically, go nowhere as well. Exact similar thing is going on here. Well, we don't know as much about potential Israeli involvement. Although fucking Benjamin Netanyahu was like talking about basically how it's really good that the South American states are beginning to align more and more with Trump specifically. I think this is a really, really good development when it's just like, dog, they just did a random regime change of Venezuela for like literally no reason. And it's a bunch of like dumbass fucking right wingers that are winning elections, dude. What do you fucking mean? It's incredibly fucking nonsensical, dude.
On another important topic, the Premier of Greenland and the Premier of Denmark and other Danish officials are responding to a Twitter post from your wife, Katie Miller, herself a former Trump White House official, showing Greenland covered with an American flag, saying soon. After that was posted, President Trump repeated the claim.
Oh, by the way, it came out that Katie Miller is in the Epstein files and was a sex slave who was basically given to fucking Steve Bannon as a show of fucking good grace to Steve Bannon. Yeah, she's been fucking trafficked.
That the U.S. needs Greenland for national security reasons. The Danish Prime Minister responded to this in an interview earlier today, as reported by Bloomberg, quote, "I believe one should take the American president seriously when he says that he wants Greenland, but I will also make it clear that if the U.S. chooses to attack another NATO country militarily, then everything stops, including NATO, and thus the security that has been established since the end of the Second World War." Can you rule out that the U.S. is ever going to try to take Greenland by force?
Well, let me go back a step. The president has been clear for months now. So I know you're treating this as breaking news. The president has been clear for months now that the United States should be the nation that has Greenland as part of our overall security apparatus.
Right, but your wife posted that like hours after the Venezuela operation. That's why it's newly relevant.
Again, like, are you going to occupy the country or are you not? I feel like that's pretty important.
and I'll talk with you about it for an hour. I think it's a really important conversation. I just wanted to reset, Jake, by making clear that it's been the formal position of the U.S. government since the beginning of this administration, frankly, going back to the previous Trump administration, that Greenland should be part of the United States. The president has been very clear about that. That is the formal position of the U.S. government.
Right, but can you say that military action against Greenland is off the table?
Military action against Greenland. The Greenland has a population of 30,000 people, Jake.
Okay, so then, first off, that's a lie. It is a population of about 54,000 people, so that's a lie. How are you going to fucking then occupy the country? What, are you going to purchase the country? The Danish have said that it's not for sale, and we're not selling it to you. So, I don't know, like, go away. I unironically do think that the Danish should kick out the U.S. military bases that are currently on Greenland and just tell them to, I don't know, kick rocks. Because at this point, like, given all of the nonsensical threats coming from this current administration and also, like, wives of powerful people within this administration, there is no way of knowing that the sovereignty, I guess, like, not sovereignty, but the sort of, like, will of the Greenlandic people are going to be sort of maintained here, who have said that they do not want to be a part of the United States. Like, we have no idea if exactly the United States of America is actually going to follow through with, like, a military occupation. That's also a good point, Boy Meets Smitty. This is Trump's leverage to try to dissolve NATO. And we know that from the signal chats that leaked, of course, boys, group chat leaked, that Stephen Miller and Pete Hegseth specifically really hate the fact that Europe has significantly better, like, socioeconomic outcomes in comparison to that of the United States of America, and they just hate fucking democracy in general. They hate the fact that Europe is a democracy. Like, these people are all just a bunch of authoritarian cranks.
The real question is, by what right does Denmark assert control over Greenland? What is the basis of their territorial claim? What is their basis of having Greenland as a colony of Denmark? The United States is the power of NATO. For the United States to secure the Arctic region, to protect...
They made that fucking claim, like, hundreds of fucking years ago, you dumbass. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, huh? Yeah, they claimed that fucking territory forever. Don't fucking give me this, like, random anti-colonial bullshit, Stephen Miller. You're currently threatening military action against the Danish for what exactly? Because of, like, your schizo president randomly saying, like, oh yeah, dude, a bunch of Russian icebreaker boats are doing incursions right now within the country of fucking Greenland. It's nonsensical. Don't give me this, like, faux anti-colonial, anti-monarchical sort of bullshit. Like, they made their claim of the fucking land hundreds of years ago, despite whatever, like, dumbass shit the president says, because he said that America made that claim hundreds of years ago. It's stupid, based off of nothing. Doesn't matter. But these people are all just a bunch of charlatans and freaks, and will just, like, literally say anything possible in order to justify their militaristic actions. Because again, dying empire, time to just, I don't know, do imperial, like, naked fucking imperialism all over the Western Hemisphere. Because dying empire shit.
And defend NATO and NATO interests. Obviously, Greenland should be part of the United States. That's a conversation we're going to have as a country. That's a process we're going to have as a new community of nations.
So you can't take it off the table that the U.S. would use military force to seize Greenland.
I understand, Jake. I understand you're trying very hard to, which again is your job. I respect it. It's great to get exactly the headline, right? That catchy headline that says Miller refuses to rule out the United States.
You're just trying to get a headline out of me. You're just trying, bro. Like, the only, because again, the Danish have said that it's not. They don't want to make a deal for Greenland. That it's not for sale, as much as Donald Trump says that it is for sale. And they have consistently said that they do not want to give up Greenland. They've said, like, no. And the Greenlanders, or the Greenlandic people, have also said, like, they do not want to be a part of the United States of America. The only option then available to the United States of America at this point is force.
Should have Greenland as part of the United States. There's no need to even think or talk about this in the context that you're asking of a military.
You guys, like, you're already in fucking NATO, man. Like, you're a part of NATO. Greenland is already technically a part of the United States of America. It's stupid. It's just dumb. Like, in any way that you try to think about this policy that these dumbass morons are basically thinking, like, I don't know. Jake Tapper's making basically the exact same face that I would be making. It's just like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. The only way forward for the United States of America is for them to just militarily invade. That's it. They have to just take it by force. And it's basically going to piss off everyone. Now, is Europe ultimately, like, if Greenland were to hypothetically be militarily sort of seized by the United States of America, would Europe do anything about that? Probably not. Probably not. I don't think anything would fucking happen. It'd be a crisis. Like NATO would basically be sort of brought under question, and Article 5, because guess what? Article 5 would have to be called against the United States of America in that particular case, and that would ultimately be completely brought into question. Guess who benefits from this sort of like nonsensical chaos from all of this? The Russians. The Russians get to benefit heavily from this because of the fact that the sort of like vaunted Article 5 has always been something that they never really wanted to deal with, because they couldn't deal with, because in a straight up engagement between NATO and the Russians, assuming no nuclear weapons, the Russians would get absolutely fucking pummeled into oblivion. They would not stand a chance. They would get fucking owned, assuming no nukes. The sort of idea here of Article 5 now ultimately coming into question, and NATO as an alliance coming into question because of the belligerence of some doddering old man who wants to secure some weird Pax Americana sort of legacy for himself, is so fucking like stupid and ridiculous that it's I don't know, even like sort of like thinking about this hypothetically is just, it's fucking mind melting, dude. But then again, you know, these morons just think they can just like do anything because they're just not going to get actively punished for their stupid nonsense.
Operation. Nobody's going to fight the United States militarily over the future of Greenland.
One last question, Stephen. One last question. The president was very quick to say that the recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize, opposition leader Machado in Venezuela, doesn't have the support in Venezuela to become the next president or the interim leader. And I wonder where he got that from, given that her...
By the way, this is like probably the biggest reason for as to why this sort of Venezuelan regime change bullshit is going to essentially just descend into a complete quagmire that someone else is going to have to clean up after.
Basically her cutout, Gonzalez, won the election last year, or 2 years ago, overwhelmingly, 70% of the vote or something like that. Why does the president think that Machado should not be the next leader? Why does he think he's weak?
First of all Venezuela experts agree. All Venezuela experts agree that it would be absurd and preposterous for us to suddenly fly her into the country and to put her in charge. And the military would follow her, and the security forces would follow her. It's not a serious question.
So should there be an election?
So by the way, that's I think the only time where I will kind of agree with Stephen Miller. It's crazy to say. Yeah, it's because the military does not want her in power. That's more than likely the reasoning for as to why. That's the only thing that can make any potential sense here. Like, just deposing the Chavistas, the military still likes the Chavistas in power and do not want Maria Corina Machado in power. Without the support of the military, she would basically go nowhere. That is also true as well, Boy Meets Me. The rest of her party probably doesn't like her, and the rest of Venezuelan parliament probably also doesn't like her. She's just not liked.
The floor for 30 seconds. Let me tell you what we are doing. The United States, this is sort of foundational. The United States is using its military to secure our interests unapologetically in our hemisphere. We're a superpower, and under President Trump, we are going to conduct ourselves as a superpower. It is absurd that we would allow a nation in our own backyard to become the supplier of resources to our adversaries, but not to us, to hoard weapons from our adversaries, to be able to be positioned as an asset against the United States rather than on behalf of the United States.
Sovereign country should be able to do what they want to do.
The Monroe Doctrine and the Trump...
Very good sort of like catch there by Jake Tapper there, unironically, despite the fact that he's typically a corporate stooge. Yeah, Venezuela is a sovereign country. If they want to make decisions for themselves, that's their discretion. Like, just doing, because again, history, like all the like soying out that Stephen Miller is currently doing for like American interventionism abroad, a position again amongst the American people which is very fucking unpopular. So this is not going to work out well for the administration. But then again, they have to like distract and vice signal from something else, as always. This is again an instance of countries can make their own decisions. There's a lot of bad blood between the Venezuelans and the Americans. It makes a lot of sense that they probably do not want to deal with the Americans and would prefer to deal with America's adversaries instead, because it's just like, fuck off, dude. Like, you hate us and give us a bunch of grief and bullshit consistently. Why would we want to make a fucking deal with you? Like, why should we? We'd rather just do our own thing. Like, go away.
doctrine is all about securing the national interest of America. For years, we sent our soldiers to die in deserts in the Middle East to try to build them parliaments, to try to build them democracies, to try to give them...
I mean, okay, then you can go die in the fucking jungle instead in the Amazon if you want to do the Monroe Doctrine. Again, this is nonsensical. I don't know. Yeah, instead of dying in a desert somewhere, go die in a jungle instead. Go, I don't know, because they said they also want to go after Cuba as well. Mountainous jungles. Good luck with that, buddy. Like, deposing and getting rid of the Cuban fucking leadership. Like, again, it's nonsensical. They're just attacking a bunch of people and doing imperialism because dying empire. This is exactly what happens to dying empires. That's one thing. Like Guyana, they also want to go after Colombia. They just want to go after a bunch of places because, again, dying empire to try to maintain onto some hold and relevance to power within the world stage, because it's currently waning right now. They have to do a bunch of imperialism and try to just take over a bunch of countries.
Them more oil, try to give them more resources. The future of the free world, Jake, depends on America being able to assert ourselves and our interests without apology. This whole period that happened after World War II, where the West began apologizing and groveling and begging and engaging in these mass reparations schemes. It's what I'm talking about, Jake.
By the way, well, this is some like random schizophrenia here by specifically Stephen Miller as a part of, again, because he is a Nazi, right? Like, he's just a Nazi. He, for whatever reason, thinks that the West, as a byproduct of winning World War II, became like very grovelly and sorry because of what exactly? Like, the United States won. You're an American. The people who I don't know, like, lost their colonial holdings throughout Africa were the French and the British or something. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, what was America apologizing for after the victory of World War II? You guys were the economic powerhouse and the ones who benefited the most from World War II because your country didn't get blown to shit by the fucking Nazis. Like, you had one attack on Pearl Harbor by the Japanese, and that was like literally it. And it's just like, okay, bro, like, what are you talking about? This is just, like, again, schizophrenia.
Is the idea? By the way, you do. I know you love doing that smarmy thing, Jake, and I was hoping you'd be better than that this time.
I asked you about if there should be an election.
Exactly.
I asked if there would be an election in Venezuela. That's what I asked. I said, why was the president so...
I mean, you're like, again, you're not answering any questions, and you're just going on schizo rants.
Machado, you answered that question, and then I said...
The objective, Jake, is security and stability for the people of Venezuela. With our help and leadership, that country will become...
Yeah, and that's not going to happen because of this fucking attempted regime change.
More prosperous than it has ever been in its whole history. Venezuela...
The woman running Venezuela right now is part of the Maduro regime.
There will be conversations, Jake, about all of these guideposts along the way. The reason why I was giving you that speech, which I know you didn't want to hear, is because you're approaching this from the wrong frame. This neoliberal frame that the United States' job is to go around the world and demanding immediate elections be held everywhere, immediately, all the time, right away.
No, that's not what I think. You invaded the country. We went into the country and we seized the leader of Venezuela.
Damn straight we did.
And I'm saying, so is the U.S. going to have new elections?
We're not going to let tin pot communist dictators send rapists into our country, send drugs into our country, send weapons into our country, and we're not going to let a country fall into the hands of our adversary.
Jake, all you can do is just call him retarded. Just call him a fucking retard. Just say, like, bro, you're a schizophrenic. You are delusional. You're just saying fucking random words to, I don't know, vice signal and not look like a complete fucking moron. Despite the fact that you just look at this, it's like, what are you supposed to engage with here? There's nothing to fucking engage with here. It's just nonsensical. Like, again, yeah, dude, Maduro was sending a bunch of, I don't know, drugs, gangbangers, and fucking rapists into the United States of America, despite the fact that they've been migrating and emigrating from the country because of the sanctions that your president put in as a result of his failed 2019 coup attempt. So, like, again... what do you mean? It's just stupid. Yeah, millions of people have left the country because of your sanctions regime. That's what you fucking did. And now you want to, I don't know, basically have like an excuse to probably get rid of all those Venezuelans and put them back in Venezuela or something. Like, unironically. Like, again, it's just mental. Like, what are you supposed to engage with here besides, this is just the rantings and ravings of like a mentally ill fucking Nazi.
The future of Venezuela working with America is going to be so bright and so incredible and so positive, and we'll have a conversation about everything.
Oh, I'm sure.
But the priority right now, as the president has made clear, is a judicious, thoughtful, careful transition process to secure a great future for Venezuela and to secure a great future for America. Right. Let's just take a moment and just acknowledge, Jake, that what we've witnessed.
Again, the Chavistas are still in power. It's fucking stupid. Yo, 1000%, boy meets Minnie. It is average working Venezuelans who are migrating because, again, hyperinflation, right? Like, criminals get to use those people as cover for them to do crimes. It's almost as if, again, conservatives are wholeheartedly incapable of understanding consequences for any of their actions because they don't care.
Yeah.
Under President Trump's leadership, this last week is one of the greatest foreign policy and military victories this country has ever had.
Stephen Miller, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude. Nice fucking mess, dude. Don't appreciate his time. Just call him like a mentally ill fucking moron. Just call him slurs. Call him a fucking broke ass whitey or something. Like, fuck this bitch. Like, unironically. Like what are you supposed to glean from any of this? All he did was just whine. All he did was just continue to vice signal and just be like, yeah, we're the greatest superpower on the planet. And that's literally Stephen Miller in a fucking nutshell, dude. It is very, very taxing to listen to this complete freakazoid fucking speak because, again, he's just a Nazi. Like, that's it. The only reason why Stephen Miller behaves in the way that he does and hates Hispanics as much as he fucking does is because of the fact that he felt slighted by the fact that his family had to move out from from the upper middle class, like, more richer white part that he used to live in into a more predominantly Hispanic, still rich part of Los Angeles that he was living in. And he felt slighted by that because, again, he's just a fucking freak. Just someone who should just be socially ostracized and fucking bullied. Which, you know, he was bullied in school. And clearly just needed to be bullied way fucking harder because now this fucking, schizophrenic, dude that just came out of the fucking mental asylum is currently one of the most powerful people in the United States fucking government and is basically the shadow president. It's so fucking stupid, dude. Oh, 1000% Boy Meets Mindy. Yeah, Latina classmate of his did become valedictorian, and he's been coping and seething ever since. Like, no, how can my superior white brain lose to this fucking brown harlot? No, how could I have lost to a brown harlot? No, it's impossible. She's brown, and I'm inherently superior because of my great white genes and brain. No. That's like Stephen Miller, and he's been like, shitting and farting his pants ever fucking since. Because, again, he's just a freak. And the only way you should treat people like Stephen Miller is basically non-human and the real fucking parasites and leeches that currently exist in this fucking world. Because he is just nothing more than a fucking little freak to power. That is it. And he just will do basically anything possible to just make the lives of people worse because in his mind, he feels like he's been fucking slighted or something. He's just like a walking 4chan post, walking little groyper fucking freak. And all of these people should be inherently ostracized from, polite society because Stephen Miller wants polite society to collapse. I don't think there's really much else to say besides Stephen Miller is an egg-headed little freak and is just a psychotic little fucking gremlin who just wants to cause more suffering for people.